Hi, welcome to Friday sessions. Today we're going to be working on Tadasana or mountain pose alignment with the intention that with better alignment comes more ease in our bodies. So Tadasana mountain pose is a traditional standing pose that from the outside seems very simple, but all of the alignment and strength building involved in it can be applied to many postures, nearly all yoga postures, and to our everyday lives. So Tadasana has many benefits. One, it helps to neutralize the spine because of the alignment that we are shooting for when we take mountain pose. Two, it helps to strengthen the body holistically. So not just the muscles and the muscle building, but also stabilization of the joints for strength. Three, it helps us to build arches in our feet. So if you have flat feet, you might notice some pain in your body. And by starting to build those arches through mountain pose, that affects the whole body from the feet up in the alignment and might help to set you into some better alignment for fewer pains. Four, mountain pose improves confidence. I sometimes call mountain pose superhero pose when I'm working with children because it elicits this sense of strength and confidence that children sometimes associate with feeling like a superhero. So mountain pose also helps us to increase circulation throughout the body. It helps us to harmonize our body and mind, and it helps us to improve our balance. That's one thing that I hear a lot and that we work on in class a lot is balance. And it's really nice to be able to work on balance with 2 feet on the ground and build that really organic foundational strength for balance. So let's take Tadasana and build it together. Come to standing and bring your feet underneath you, about hips width apart. So hips width is if you take your hands to the bones at the front of the hips here, and you would point straight down the thighs, down the legs, your feet would land below you. And then maybe there's about 2 fists width between the balls of your feet. Or about 6 inches. And then with your feet there underneath your hips, go ahead and take a look at them and notice, even if it's subtle, if the heels are turned in and the toes are turned out, or vice versa, if you naturally stand pronated with toes turned in and heels out. And see if you can find a perfect number 11, aligning the inner arches of your feet. So that whole line, the inside of the feet lines up like a number 11. That's going to be really important for decompressing the lower back and the back of the hips, alleviating that tension around the glutes and the back body. And then take all 10 toes and lift them and fan them out wide. So notice if your toes are crumpled up or if you're able to spread them out, stretch them out, and see some space of the floor between each and every toe. And also notice if you're gripping with your toes. We want to use the toes to help the balance and the fluctuation, but never to grip and pull. All right, now we talk about 4 corners of the feet in yoga a lot. And those 4 corners are the big toe mound, so the ball of your foot that's right at the base of your big toe. And then draw a line straight across the top of your foot. That same kind of mound is at the base of your pinky toe. So you've got those 2 mounds at the top of the foot. And then we think about the inner heel and the outer heel to create kind of a rectangle around the soles of the feet and feel like you can plug down through those 4 corners. And when you do, what happens is there's a little sense of lift up through the arches. And not so much, again, that you're gripping through the toes, but that you feel 4 corners plugging down and then the center of the foot lifting up. And that's going to start to draw the energy up and it's going to start to build the strength of the arches. All right, now to the ankles. So we want to tone the ankle joints. Think about stirrups. on the inside and the outside of your ankle. So those stirrups pull up the inseam and the outseam. And again, you might feel that energy rise if you start to really activate that toning sensation in the inner and outer ankle. That's going to help to build a foundation for the rest of this pose. And I talk so much about feet and the alignment here and the energetics here, because that is what is meeting the earth. That is what the rest of this body is built on top of. That is your foundation. So really important to get feet right first. So from there, from the feet, from the ankles, feel that energy lifting up through the shins. And I want you to take the tops of your shins, which is just below your knees, and just push that forward just an inch, just an inch. So what ends up happening is you get a little bend in your knees, just a tiny bend, right? And it's going to kind of feel like, oh, now I'm kind of bending and pitching forward a little bit. Well, so for that, we're going to start to pull the tops of the thighs back. So it's almost like if you could pull your thigh bones up into the hip sockets, you're pulling that up and back and pulling yourself into your pelvis. And then take the back of your pelvis or your tailbone and point it straight down. That will spread and open the lower back. And instead of thinking like curling the tailbone under, just think about lengthening the tailbone down. Okay, so the front of the pelvis has a slight tip up toward the belly, and the back of the pelvis has a slight tip straight down towards your heels. All right, so you might feel like you've got some folds and some creases going on. Just go with it. We're going to stack all of these building blocks one on top of the other to continue to build our mountain pose. All right, so make sure you don't lose any of those pieces as we continue to build. We're going to keep working with the spine now. So we've got that tailbone, which is the tip of the spine, reaching straight down toward the floor between the heels. Then we want to continue to create space up the spine without flattening it out. So the spine has some natural curves to it. And I want you to take your mind's eye, your very keenest imagination, and start at your tailbone that's pointing straight down towards your heels. And trace that mentally up. And you'll notice there's a little curve that goes around the back of the pelvis, a little curve outward there. And then once you get up to the top of the hips, the spine starts to curve inward a little bit at your low back. So we want these nice, smooth, gentle curves to continue throughout the spine. We don't want any sharp angles, and we don't want any flattening. We want to encourage a long spine to allow it to snake and the energy to ascend. So from that little curve in the low back, you feel, and you can even take your hand there like I'm doing, you feel a little outward round, kind of around your middle back, around your shoulder blades. Yeah. So another little curve there. And then as you travel up over the backs of the shoulders, over the back of the rib cage, there's another inward curve that comes at the neck, at the base of the neck, and then swooping up to the skull. Yeah. So we want to trace those curves and allow the spine to be really free and long and spacious. All right, so in order to do that, in order to give the back body that space, we have to tone the front body a little bit. So feel your abdominals draw in. Again, feel your hip points, front hip points kind of pull up and in. That'll help come and meet the abdominals and strengthen the front body here. You want to feel like the center of your heart and your navel are connecting. They're talking to one another. They're connecting with one another. And that'll draw this all together a little bit more. Not so much that you're rounding and hunching, but so that you feel firm and toned in your front body, and you feel really spacious and open in your back body. And then we're gonna take the shoulders, the collarbones, and spread them out wide. And so that'll take a little bit of that excessive rounded forwardness out of it. So feel like you can open up the collarbones, take the shoulders up, back, and down, And let your arms drop by your sides with your palms facing forward. Make your hands like an expression of your open heart space, right? So the more you spread your fingers and your palms and you feel that stretch of your hands, you feel that opening of the center of your heart. Energetically stretch out through the arms so much that it pulls the shoulders down and toward your back body slightly. Yeah, and then from the base of the neck, start to elongate up on all four sides of your neck. So that's the front side, the back side, the right side, and the left side. Everything is lifting together. Yeah. And we can play with the arms here too. Sometimes a little self-assist is nice. You can take your hands to your side ribs and kind of lift your side ribs up and gently push into your fingers to drop your front ribs down. And your thumbs pick up to lift your back ribs up. And then you saw me do this. Open the collarbones, roll the shoulders back and down, and stretch the arms away. Same thing with the head and the neck. Take your hands and gently wrap thumbs toward the base of your jaw there and 4 fingers around the base of your skull in the back. And then just gently lift the skull up away from the collarbones, up away from the shoulders, and feel that lengthening on all 4 sides. And then keep that, maybe even a slight lift of the back of the head more so that the crown, the very top of your head, is tipping up and you've got lots of length through the back of your body there. Stretch your arms back down by your side. Soften through your face. Yeah, so you might feel a little unnatural, a little shifted out of neutral because your posture, your tendencies, the way you hold your body isn't used to this. And just because it doesn't feel normal, that doesn't mean it's wrong. It just means that we're rebuilding with the tools that we have. Right? So we want to stack our body, align our bodies in a way that really helps to optimize the joints, the range of motion, the muscular stability, and the flexibility. So when we put all of that together, and I turn to the side to show you, it's not a perfect straight line. And that's not what we're going for, right? In yoga and life, we're not going for perfection. We're not going for the ultimate clean slate. What we're going for is the right proportion and mix and chemical reaction of everything in us and around us. So again, down to my feet, I'm drilling down into the ground. I'm lifting up through the center arches of my feet. I'm feeling that energy rise through the legs. I'm toning my legs and I'm toning my front body. I'm filling up my back body with my breath and I'm feeling nice and long through the spine. I'm lifting up through the crown of my head with a slight tuck of my chin. And then I'm rolling my shoulders back and feeling like a superhero across my chest. Yoga not only helps us to build our bodies anatomically, it helps us to build this library of sensation and emotion. And if you really dig into mountain pose, it can have such an overwhelming sense of awe that comes with it. Just standing in your own strength, standing in your own open heart, can elicit this beautiful sweep of emotion. Some may call it superhero. Some may call it deep inner strength. Some may call it confidence. Just notice what you feel standing in your mountain pose. And then release. Soften your body and shake it out. Yeah. So here's the thing, guys. It's a practice. You have to keep coming back to this and keep coming back to all those cues and those alignments until that's what becomes habit. And that's the way your body holds itself. Then you'll be able to stand in strength in any yoga pose, and you'll be able to sit at your desk with better posture, and you'll be able to free up your lungs and your rib cage for more beautiful breath. And maybe you'll even have fewer pains in your body from really organizing and stabilizing around the joint structures and using your body's own capacity, your inherent capacity for alignment and strength. So keep practicing those alignment cues until they become habits, and apply them to all your yoga poses, and apply them today while you're sitting at your desk, while you're riding in your car, while you're having a conversation with somebody. You can apply it sitting down, you can apply it standing up, you can apply it walking, running, working, lying down on your back even. So I hope you enjoy, and I hope you start to feel some of those shifts in your body after you practice Tadasana. And I also hope you start to feel some of those shifts in your confidence from practicing Tadasana. Have a great day. Thank you.